Coming up on R&B Reviews, the Sanderson Sisters are back and up to their comical tricks in Hocus Pocus 2. Come, we fly! Hello, I am Rob, and thank you for checking out R&B Reviews. Hocus Pocus 2 was one of the most anticipated movies on Disney+. After all, the first film, which was released in 1993, has a devoted cult following, much like Nightmare Before Christmas. Now, I will be upfront, I didn't grow up watching the first Hocus Pocus. I remember when it came out and seeing commercials, but I didn't actually see it until about 3 years ago when a drive-in near me was doing a double feature of that film and Beetlejuice. Now, while I wouldn't call myself a die-hard fan of the first film like its devotees, I did find it entertaining. I thought Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Kathy Najimy made the movie. I thought they played interesting comical characters. I liked the little bits of business that they did. I really liked the story, and I liked some of the comedy in that film. Hocus Pocus 2, I read, has actually become the #1 film premiere on Disney Plus to date, based on hours watched domestically in the first 3 days. This movie follows two teenagers, Becca and Izzy, who do their yearly ritual of celebrating both Halloween and Becca's birthday. She's actually going to be turning 16, and they do this ritual in the woods when accidentally they bring back the Sanderson Sisters, and they must figure out how to stop these witches from wreaking havoc on the town. Now, Hocus Pocus 2 I thought was amusing, but I didn't think it was quite as good as the first one. When I went to see this movie, I did try to keep the first film out of my mind and try to judge it based on this film and not compare it to the previous film. But something I noticed right away was how much filmmaking tastes have changed. For example, the first movie felt more like a Halloween fantasy from the look of the movie and the sets, and the filmmakers were not trying to go for a realistic look. But what I noticed with this one was right away in the opening scene we get a backstory about the Sanderson sisters in their town of Salem when they're younger. I noticed how the streets looked muddy and the buildings and the way it was shot. It looked like it had more of a naturalistic, realistic feel to it, like it was trying to add a touch of realism to this fantasy film. I thought that Midler, Parker, and Najimy were great as usual, and they did try to be consistent with their performances, which must have been a challenge for them considering the amount of time that has passed between when this film was made and when the first one came out. I didn't at all feel like they were out of step from playing these characters. I liked also the actresses that were playing the teenagers, Izzy and Becca, and I thought they had great friendship chemistry between them, and I thought their performances was very well done. I also liked that this film was not an exact copy of the first film. They may have had some similar moments, but not exact, and I know some fans were a little bit disappointed that there weren't cameos from some of the characters from the original film, but I liked that they weren't there so that we could focus on Becca and Izzy and what they're trying to do. I also like that some of the fish out of the water moments with modern technology for the Sanderson sisters I thought were very well done too. And something else, I really enjoyed little details throughout the film, like how the high school sports mascot is the Puritans because it takes place in Salem, and also satirical moments like when Becca tells the sisters they don't have to make their own potions anymore because they can come already made and bottled, much like products that we have today. However, what I didn't like about this sequel was some inconsistencies from the first film. I know I was trying my best not to compare the first film, but I couldn't help but notice that when the girls trick the Sanderson sisters into visiting a local drugstore, there's, a bright light and a logo, and they act like they've never seen electricity before, but in the first movie, they were at that adult Halloween party, and there were lights everywhere. I also noticed that when Bette Midler's Winifred Sanderson character is hitting her sisters, in the first film it tended to be a little bit more cartoonish and silly, but I noticed one moment when she slapped Sarah Jessica Parker's character, it looked like she was physically doing it, like physically slapping her, and I was like, whoa. There were a few other subplots that I felt like they didn't, go anywhere. But overall, I was entertained. I didn't hate it, but I felt like the finished movie, after I finished watching it, I was like, it was a good time killer. And there's also a post-credit scene, just so you know. So overall, I was entertained, maybe not as much as the first film, but I thought that there was some stuff that I liked, but I would probably give it 2.5 stars. I think it's a good movie to watch at home. If it had come out in the theaters, I don't know if I would have recommended it as a theater-going experience, but I'm not sure it's going to be quite as memorable as the first film was. Alright, well that's my take on Hocus Pocus 2. If you have seen the movie, what did you think of it? Did you like it? Did you think it was better than the first film? Were you disappointed in it? Please share with me your thoughts. And check out some other movie reviews that you can watch either in the theater or perhaps in the comforts of your own home. Hit the like button, hit the bell for bell notifications, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you very much for watching.